Trauma-informed classrooms, what they are, and how do they work. Let's start with who I worked with. I worked with SafeNet Services, which is a group in Claremore whose mission is serving survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking. SafeNet will help you write a new chapter, one that's filled with security, dignity, and stability. I originally started with a group that was going to Hope Harbor and then had some pregnancy related issues that made me have to be confined to my home and unable to physically go to Hope Harbor. So I was given the opportunity to serve SafeNet Services by doing research on classroom techniques to help children dealing with trauma-related issues be able to stay in the classroom and thrive in the environment provided for them. What is a trauma-informed classroom? Well, I can honestly say that this is a subject I knew nothing about and did not even know existed until Cassie from SafeNet asked me to research this subject for her. After beginning research, I found a subject that was quickly developed into something very interesting for me for many reasons. I personally feel that I would have had better success in junior high and high school if I had teachers that were trauma informed and who used this method of teaching. I was not successful in school and went to homeschool in 8th grade, went back to traditional school as a sophomore, and dropped out of school when I was 16. When I was 18, my mom convinced me to try Epic Charter Schools online, and I did manage to graduate at the age of 20. Okay, so first we are going to look at a traditional classroom. The ones we expect to see when walking into a school. This classroom is cold and impersonal and institutional looking. This is what a student who has been through a traumatic situation sees as they walk through the door. As you can see, it's just a normal setup with just the desk and everything. Before I could begin this research, I had to find out exactly what trauma-informed teaching was and what it looked like. I found that trauma-informed teaching is teachers who understand what trauma is and how it impacts learning and behavior. These teachers think about their students and why they act the way they do. Trauma can be a variety of things, from parents to fighting at the home, all the way to living on the streets with nowhere to go at night. Students are very good at hiding their real situation from teachers because of the threats of CPS taking them away from their parents and the only life that they know. I know this sounds extreme, but children brought up in traumatic situations tend to hide these situations because they love their parents and do not want to be separated from them. Now let's look at what a trauma-informed classroom looks like. So this would be for like the younger age groups, I feel like. But you see the chairs and the beanbag and the little mat and the pillows. That is basically for the children to just go and hang out and do their learning there instead of sitting in the desks at a traditional classroom. As you can see from the previous slide, trauma-informed classroom look much different than traditional classrooms. Trauma-informed classrooms give students a place just to take a brain break, take time to get themselves together so they don't have meltdowns in the classroom, which can lead to severe consequences and legal action being taken against the student. The trauma-informed teacher will allow the students to just go lay on the floor and sleep if that's what they need to do. Let's see. Trauma-informed classrooms can also look like the one in the next slide. It isn't a huge transition from a traditional classroom, but it does have places for the students to go and get comfortable and take a time out if they need to. See, in my opinion, this would be for like the older students, like, because they got the regular desk and everything, and then you see the little beanbag chairs in the back, and that's for the students that need to just sit on those to get their learning, or like you see the little circle chairs for the kids that need to be moving all the time in order for their brain to focus on something. Um, However, classroom organization is only part of the solution to helping students who have suffered trauma. The teacher is the head of the classroom, and the teacher is the one who makes this type of classroom successful. So, what is a trauma informed teacher? A trauma informed teacher is someone who understands what is going on with the student and even how to recognize that a student is having a bad day from something going on in their life before they start before they start misbehaving in the classroom. The teachers who practice trauma-informed teaching understand that trauma will affect the way the student acts and learns in the classroom, and they need to try and stay tuned in to the needs of the student. Students who have experienced trauma are more likely to be distracted or need more time to complete assignments. Many times they are irritable because they don't get enough sleep, or jumpy because they're afraid anytime someone gets close to them, they will be abused. How do you become a trauma-informed teacher? Well, at Emporia State University, they offer a certified class called Social Emotional Learning and Psychological Well-Being. It is an 18 credit hour class, and it helps educators, mental health professionals, and others in the science of social emotional learning and development and interventions in aspects related to diversity and system change. And that's the little URL. I feel this class would be very helpful to any teacher working in the education today. And I feel that way because you never know what your students are going through. So I feel like it would be beneficial to all the teachers and all the students in schools today. As an educator in high school, teachers can help students in many ways. The simple things matter to students who have suffered some type of trauma. To me, it means that you can take a section of the classroom, put rugs on the floor with big pillows or bean bags to give students a place to just take a mental break, and allow the students to learn without forcing them to learn. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but in my mind, I can see students hanging out on the bean bags while reading books or listening to the teacher lecture. Flexible seats, yoga balls, bean bags, wall chairs, and even stand-up workstations, allowing them to stand if they choose to. Or even rocking chairs for the students who tend to fidget a lot and need to be moving. You can even do low dim lights to help students with the migraines, or even create a warm, welcoming environment for the students, allowing them to feel like they belong. Another suggestion I found was to use warm, welcoming colors. It is important for students to have a place where they can feel comfortable and make these small changes in a classroom. And just to make these small changes in the classroom will help to open them up and be ready to learn versus struggling to pay attention and keeping focus. Another thing that can help is to provide the students with fidget items like spinners, blocks, or even stretchy hands, something they can mess with while in the classroom to help them stay focused on learning versus feeling overwhelmed, because the feeling of being overwhelmed leads to acting out and going into flight or fight mode. A trauma-informed classroom gives students a sense of safety and security, which is very important to students who have suffered trauma in the past. I know there has to be rules in order to keep the classroom safe for all students, but just giving students a place to feel comfortable, a place they can lay on the floor or sit on the bean bag or yoga ball or wobble stool will help them to feel as they are safe and secure, which is important when working with students who have suffered trauma. Another suggestion is to let the students make the classroom theirs. Let them put their handprints on the wall, autograph the lectern, or hang up their personal paintings. Let them make it a comfortable place to learn, because they will learn more if they feel they are part of a greater community. As a former student, who did not lead a traditional life, I feel that if I had the opportunity to learn in a trauma-informed classroom, being taught by a trauma-informed teacher, I would have had a chance to be successful in high school instead of graduating at the age of 20 from an online public charter school. And then there is my works cited page.